Hi, I thought I would talk to you guys today a little bit about some things that you can do to jumpstart your personal growth. The pursuit of happiness is as inherent as our instinct to breathe, but sometimes people get caught up in a lot of minutia that bogs them down and makes them feel stuck, like it's difficult to move forward. So I thought we'd talk about some things that you can do to try and get the ball rolling in a more productive way. So the first thing is to really just know yourself. Know yourself and love yourself just as you are right now. Kind of reflecting in a non-judgmental way on your strengths, your weaknesses, and the areas in which you'd want to grow, but at the same time accepting the areas about you as they are right now. We are always going to be evolving, and as the more we're able to just accept ourselves in a non-judgmental way, it actually ironically frees us up to do more work and to really grow. The next piece that I think is super important in the process of really trying to motivate some personal growth is to spend less time on social media. Social media has a tendency to really represent unrealistic images or representations of the people that we see on there, because what people do is they put out there in social media only the very best of themselves, or representations of what they would like people to believe. But the reality is everybody has ups and downs, highs and lows, good and bad in their lives. And so if we spend our times comparing ourselves to the images that we see on social media, we're really comparing ourselves to unrealistic standards. So it can be defeating. I've found for some people it's extremely depressing because they think that their life pales in comparison. So really just be present with where you are and recognize and remember that what you do see on social media is not always really telling the full story. The next thing that is really wonderfully helpful is to spend time in nature. So research has shown that the more time people spend outside and in nature, the better they feel. It's really a simple a simple way to get started in feeling better is just to be outside, go for a walk, and just be present in the moment. Take in what you see around you. It's not about really feeling like you have to be constantly propelling yourself in this mode of growth, but a lot of it is just about being present and being mindful of the moment. Another thing is to maintain a thankful list. I talk about this in a different vlog where we discuss the fact that by coming up with several items each day, and preferably none of those items would be the same, of things that you're thankful for. So it can be as simple as a really great dish of ice cream or the comfort of your pillow when you go to sleep at night. Really simple things that you can be thankful for each day, and that really starts strengthening some of those more positive neuronal networks in our brain and changing the way that we see the world around us. The next is to really spend some time learning something new. Take up a new hobby or read a good book. By learning something new, it doesn't always have to be something profound. It can be, taking up knitting or sculpting or reading just a good novel. It helps us to think about things in a new way. It can shift our perspective and gives us some time for insight and self-reflection if we're really engaged in the flow of some wonderful activity. So think about learning something new. Journaling is another wonderful idea in terms of starting some personal growth. It doesn't have to be a narrative that you're writing. It can be as simple as putting down bullet points of some of your thoughts and some of your reflections on where you've been, where you are now, and where you want to go with your growth. So I strongly recommend it for anybody who's really thinking about how they want to kind of start motivating some change. The last thing is really just to chunk out only a few things at a time, only have a few personal goals at a time. I know that it can be overwhelming for people if they feel like they've got to just remake themselves. And that's really not what it's all about. We are going to be changing and evolving until we take our last breath. It's something that is a lifelong journey. And so just enjoying the journey and being in the moment and, feeling like, you may have one or two goals that you want to work on at a time. And that's absolutely plenty. And it can certainly be more motivating to have some success with just one or two things than to try and take on too much all at once. So the most important piece here, like I started with and want to end with here, is just to remind you to enjoy this journey, the journey of growth, the journey of evolving. So until next time, thanks for joining me.